Hi, I'm Jay-Z Sketch. Also, my real name's Jamie. You can call me that. I am an artist primarily, but I'm also a polycraftual person. I do many different crafts. I also write and I do streaming. You can find me on Twitch at Jay-Z Sketch, which is where I am most. That's like the main social media that I use. I don't really vibe with social media as much, but I do have social media. You know, I'm probably not going to be able to look at the camera very much because I am very uncomfortable with being perceived, and my face is on the screen directly underneath the camera, and that makes me very uncomfortable. So, yeah, I'm trying, but I can't promise anything. But, anyways, this channel is not going to only be Flosstube, but it will probably be primarily Flosstube. As I do other crafts as well. So I figured, why not start my really fucking awkward video and stuff with a WIP parade? It's like the middle of the year, so everyone's going to be doing their mid-year WIP parade soon, so I figured I'd join in. Yeah, so we'll start with my first and only full coverage. Obviously we're starting with cross-stitch projects. Which is Memento Ophelia. The art is by Erin Fowler, and it is I got it from Unconventional X Stitch. It is no longer available, sadly, which is genuinely a shame because it's a really nice pattern. It's a dead lady in a lake. I feel like this is going to say a lot about me. But I am 30.58% through, and here is what I have so far. Move over here so you can still see my mouth. As you can tell, it's you got kind of wiggly at the bottom, but that's what I've got so far. There will be subtitles, so don't worry about that. There's a failed start up here. Yeah, just roll that back up. My goal is at least 1% a month on it, but honestly, at this point, I'm trying to get it finished. If I do 388 stitches a day, I will actually be done by New Year's Eve, which could be fun, I guess. You just pop this away and we'll get the next one out. Next up, we have the A to Z dinosaur chart by Purple Pansy. Make sure it's actually in frame. Those are all the dinosaurs so far. With this project, I am 59.09% through, and what I'm doing with this one is every month I'm doing one dinosaur. And I believe, if I recall correctly, the last dinosaur should be getting stitched in January, unless I'm remembering that wrong. But this will be a finish, hopefully, at the beginning of next year. I do like dinosaurs. I like dinosaurs a lot. But yeah, let's get the next one out. So, next up, we have Stitchography from the Fat Quarter Shop. I'm doing this one with my friend. It doesn't work in Pattern Keeper, so I don't have a percentage. But basically, each quarter, we are doing a quarter of the pattern. So, yeah. We're currently obviously on the second quarter. But here's what I have so far. And we work on this at the same time as well, so we both have the exact same amount done. We hang out in my Discord every Sunday and work on it. It's a fun thing to do. It's a fun little project. We'll probably do something similar again next year. But it might be fun if I can get some more of my friends involved. Next up, we have some Craftivism, which the pattern is Normal version 2 by Birdie's Crossing. I only have this much left, this much done, rather. Just xenophobia, I guess. It's a good pattern, and I'm using 115 and 310. 115 is my favorite floss, so that's always fun. But hopefully I will get this finished some point this year. It would be nice. Next up, we have a bumblebee on black fabric. I don't know how well that's showing up, but hopefully it shows up well enough that you can actually see it. It's a paper chart, so again, no percentage. I got it from Amazon. I'm not really sure who it's by. It's probably a stolen thing. I don't buy those anymore. And so the last cross-stitch WIP I have is Daruma. So this is definitely not going to show up very well on camera. You can kind of see it. I'll probably try and insert a better picture. It's on dark fabric, so, you know, it's very light. That's a boob, by the way, the boob. The middle of the project just happened to be a boob, and I did not realize that until I started stitching it, and then I was like, oh. But that is by Lux Nova Studio, and I got that from Unconventional X Stitch. Well, actually, I didn't get it. It was a gift from my partner, so yay. But that is 1.62% is a boob. But don't go anywhere yet, because we also have some black work. I love black work, like, so much. And of course my favourite designer is Urban Stitches, who also happens to be a friend, but I was stitching her stuff before she became my friend, so, you know. So here is Bat with Bell. Obviously there is no percentage for this, because you can't exactly put black work into Pattern Keeper, which is a shame. If I just bring that closer so you can, like, see. Oh my god, this is not working. She uses a mixture of 1 and 2 strands in this pattern to give it that, like, the depth and the shading. I think it looks really cool, and I'm really hoping to finish that, like, soon. I think the section, sorry about that noise, that is my cockatiel moving around his cage. I'm hoping to finish that sometime soon. Like, I think currently the section I'm on is, like, the heaviest stitching area, so once I power through that, it's mostly just, like, fluffy background fill. And staying on the Urban Stitches theme, I have another WIP from her, and this one is the current ongoing SAL that she's running, which is the Moonlit Market. I keep wanting to say Midnight Market because the last SAL was Midnight Market. No, Midnight Whispers, and because they're both beginning by M, my brain gets confused. It's fine. But I'm only 1 week behind, but that's because I work on it on streams on Monday, and I wasn't able to stream this week, so I'm a week behind. But there's no new bottle this week. There's no new update this week, so I'll be able to catch up on Monday, which will be nice. But here is my progress so far. It's my face. I do have some glow-in-the-dark floss in there, but obviously you can't see it glowing right now. But that'll be fun when it's finished. I think my favorite bottle so far is probably. I just folded it, and I'm going to unfold it. It's got to be this little frog. He's just so happy and cute. And we have one more black work, so just let me grab that. So the final black work project is not by Urban Stitches. This one is actually from Circle Cross, and it is the Norse Mandala. There's my phone again. I work on this in stream sometimes, but currently obviously my focus is my black work stream focus is my other 2 black works, because I'm making sure I'm staying up to date on the SAL and then trying to get some work done on that bat. So I have one embroidery WIP, which is this. Yeah, I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera, but the fabric is purple. If I get it was from some like generic kit on Amazon. This is only my second time ever doing embroidery, so it's not super great, but I like it. I think it's cute. So next we have knitting, which I only have 4. No, I only have 3 WIPs for knitting. So first off, I will start with my newest WIP, which is kind of become my out of the house WIP. So whenever I'm at the library or I'm just outside for whatever reason, I'm taking this project with me. And it is the 100 bag by... Who's it by? Sorry, I hiccuped. I have a breathing tic. If I stop breathing, my body forces me to hiccup in order to make me breathe again. It's really annoying. But this is a pattern from Woolen Cottage. See if it'll... So I like this bag because it's just plain knit stitch and it's knitting around, so it's just plain stockinette. And when it's finished, I will sew the bottom. The bottom will be attached, and then it'll have some one long handle, one short handle, because it's a Japanese knot style bag. And I figured it would be useful to use as an actual project bag once it's done. It can be a small little bag, of course. But the yarns I'm using are this like generic cotton boucle yarn I was given by one of the ladies at my craft group. But then I'm holding it. Sorry, that's very loud. I do apologize. I'm holding it with this yarn, which is a vegan sock yarn. This is from Vegan Yarns UK. You can't get this base anymore, which is a shame. So this is the cotton, bamboo, and elastic base. But she now has a more environmentally friendly version, which is obviously better. I will definitely link her below. Definitely check her out. But these yarns are from an advent calendar from a couple of years ago, and I finally found a fun use for them. And it's to make this little bag. So it feels very nice. But then after that we have I really should work on this again. We have a gnome. This is Make No Mistake by Sarah Shira. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. I'm sorry. But I only have the hat. So we have a gnome hat, but no gnome. So I need to knit the gnome's body, and then this little hat will go on top. It'll be very cute. But then the third and final knitting WIP, there is still a crochet WIP to come, and some sewing. I do a lot of crafts. The third knitting WIP is the Corin shawl. I don't know how to pronounce that. By Abigail Phelps. It's a spider web. It's inspired by the scene where Sheila like wraps Frodo up in the spider web. You can see me. But it has a lot of beads. It has lots of small beads throughout, and then big beads now that I'm nearing the edge. But it's a big shawl. And it's my first time doing lace. Also my first time knitting a circular shawl, and my first time knitting with beads. And the yarn I'm using is once again from Vegan Yarns. Obviously one of her lace weight yarns. You can't get this colour anymore, but you can get the base. I don't know what yarn I'm using for the gnome. That's why I didn't mention the gnome one. But I am getting so close to the end of this shawl. I actually worked on it on stream this week. On Thursday, I worked on this shawl, and I got a couple of rounds in, which is good because we're nearing the end. Alright, let me pop these away, and then I will get out my 1 crochet WIP and my 3 sewing WIPs. So my 1 crochet WIP is Cobwebs by Julia Hart. I've put it on this box lid so you can actually kind of see it. It's this little little webs and a spider. I need to make obviously a lot more of them because it's meant to be bigger. But the spider was really fun to crochet actually. Wasn't the easiest, I got confused, but it's a cute little spider. I don't really like spiders, but it's a cute spider. I like them when they're not real. So then we will do sewing whips. But so I'll start with my English paper piecing, which it's kind of weird to call this a whip because it's like it's ongoing whip, I guess. But first of all, I have this, which I need to figure out something to do with. And I was thinking maybe I could like put it on a bag or something. But here's my little box of hexes that I have so far. I use up like little leftover scraps of yarn, of fabric. I don't let anything go to waste. Basically, everything gets used. Everything gets a second, third, and sometimes even fourth life. But that is, I need to figure out what to do with those basically, because they're so tiny. It's not like I can make something massive out of them. Not yet, at least. It would take a very long time. But whenever I make something out of them, I'll definitely update you, because then it's a whip. So the second sewing whip is not a hand sewn one, but this is going to be an apron. These like the bib and then the sides. I made it a little bit shorter than what you like recommended, but that's because I'll probably be using it sitting down because I do have mobility issues. But I need to make like straps and I need to figure out what I'm doing with the pockets. But it's made out of denim. It's actually quite a nice denim, and I got it really cheap. And I'm hoping to get that finished soon because it's been a whip for far too long. I'm just not the biggest fan of using a sewing machine, so it tends to get put off. Because I just don't like the noise and the danger. I have caught my finger in a sewing machine when I was a child. Okay, so my last whip is a quilt. I literally just need to finish actually quilting it. I kind of put off continuing it mostly because I need to rip out some stitches I did and then redo them, and I'm lazy and I don't like my sewing machine, so because I'm not hand quilting this one. And then obviously put the binding on. But I will stand up so I can actually show you it. It's not like a bed-sized one. It's like a, I don't know what the names of all the different sizes are, but like, I guess it would be like, I don't know. I'm just calling it a lap quilt because you know it's not massive, but it's not small. So I'll stand up and show you. If you can stay in frame, that would help. And then there's the back. You can probably see why I need to take it apart. Not take it apart, but requilt. But yeah, so those are my whips. I mean, technically there is one more whip, and that is a tablet weaving whip, which you can see behind me. But I think I'm going to scrap that project and start a new one. Will my camera stop pulsing, please? Thank you. I'm probably going to scrap that project and start a new one at some point. I'm just not happy with the yarn I'm using. It's 100% wool, and it's, I don't know. Also, the colors just don't contrast enough for the pattern that I picked. But I do have some plans for my tablet weaving. Yay! But yeah, I think that's everything. Well, actually, there is one more thing, and that is I also design patterns, which I somehow forgot. So this is my first pattern. It is a biscornu. But more specifically, it's a bee scornu because it has bees on it. And I'm very proud of this design because, you know, it's the first one. And people seem to like it. It is available for only like a $5 on my Ko-fi, which obviously will be linked down in the description. But I think that's everything stitchy, crafty wise. Yeah. I have a feeling my friend Dace, who is also a Flosstube and streamer, is gonna be very excited that I've decided to make a video. I'm not sure. I'm gonna pretend that Crow is also gonna be excited because Crow is also my friend, and obviously they will both be linked below. But yeah, that is everything I can think of. I don't know how often I'll actually make videos, but hopefully this wasn't too painful to watch, and I will maybe see people in my stream. Who knows? But until then, bye bye.